Wednesday, November 8th, 2023 at 6:31 p.m. Would we all please rise and pay respects to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Noting of the roll.
Noted, there's a quorum.
Thank you. Approval of the agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the following amendment under item 8. That's 2024 Community Development Block Grant Funds, not 2023.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Colvin. Are there any questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Hearing none. Item 5, approval of the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Are there any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Okay, at this time, we'll address the public. Are there any public wishing to comment on items that are not on the agenda? Yes, step up. You have 3 minutes and
Thank you. Brian Clute here, Director, Oxford Public Library. Most of you in this, on the board have probably seen that we launched our new website for the public library this week. We're very excited about that. Our web address remains the same. It's myopl.org. But the website itself is completely overhauled from top to bottom, a brand new platform, much more user-friendly. The end user experience we think is going to be greatly improved by this, and all the feedback we've gotten so far has been overwhelmingly positive. At the same time, we launched a rebrand of the library today, this week. In addition to that, with the new print newsletter, which is going to land in homeowners' mailboxes either Friday or Saturday of this week. I dropped off some advanced copies here, so you may already have those. In addition to that, we, with the new website, we launched a new patron program registration software that works a lot more user-friendly for our patrons and for us on the back end. Additionally, we now have the ability for patrons to reserve the community rooms and the quiet study rooms remotely if they'd like to do that. We also released our strategic plan for 2024 through 2026. That's available on our website as well, and there's a synopsis of that inside the newsletter that's going to be released later this week. We would like to remind everybody, including all of you, that we're gearing up now to host the Smithsonian exhibit Waterways. That will be arriving the first part of December and will be with us through the second week of February. The opening gala is scheduled from 6 until 9 on Friday, December 8th. We are very excited to have the opportunity to invite everybody back in the building for an event like that. We haven't done that in a long time. And so if you visit our website and you see anything that you think looks out of order, let us know. We've tried to make sure everything was ready and launched, but we've found little bugs here and there that we've been fixing as we find them. But we certainly welcome your input on that as well. So if you have any questions, you know where to find me, but I appreciate your time.
thank you. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak at this time on items not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on to the Board of Trustee comments. I'm going to start with Trustee Colvin.
I'd just like to thank our neighbors down south. I don't know if everyone heard, but they saved the DDA. The Lake Orion DDA and the Oxford DDA work very closely together since our communities are so well connected. So the Lake Orion DDA survives. So glad to hear it.
Okay. Trustee Payne.
Nothing at this time.
Trustee Noel.
Thank you, but no thank you.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Nothing at this time.
Clerk Wright?
Just an apology to the audience because I can't get the TVs to work, so I'm still working on it, but it doesn't look good. Small comment.
It's not your fault. We have the authority to get new stuff, so we have proven our fact right there. And Trustee Charles?
Oh, well, I'll make up for the other trustees don't want to say anything. One thing, if I could say, with Catherine on the DDA board, with the Witches Night of a few weeks ago, I was at a meeting this morning for the Economic Vitality Committee. And one of the, I don't know if we have any scientific evidence, but one of the comments was is that 80% of the people that came into town for that event were from outside of Oxford. So I think it's pretty cool that we're bringing outside people to our town for events like that. So I thought that was an interesting statistic going into the value, which you said for Orion and then Oxford as well. And this is kind of a question, comment too. In our board packet, there's all our committees report, including the Spongy Moth Committee, formerly known as the Gypsy Moth Committee. Just a thought for future discussion would be, should we change that committee to invasive species? And I pose that rhetorically because we've got things like Phragmites and other invasive species, not just spongy moths. I think Clerk Wright and I are pretty proud of what we accomplished with the spongy moth thing. I think we saved the township around, what, $75,000 plus we suppressed them, but there's other things like Phragmites that we can deal with as well. So just a thought for future reference. Another comment here, going back to what Mr. Cloutier was saying about the website. I know Treasurer Ferrari had mentioned looking at our website, and I'd like to see about looking into something like what the library's accomplished and possibly looking at updating ours and maybe hiring a company. One of the companies we were exposed to at our meeting up in wherever it was, Harbor Springs, there's a couple of companies that do that professionally. And maybe Brian can give us some input what he was able to accomplish with the library website too. Let's see, that's about it for now. I'll come with some more things later on.
Oh, thank you. Two things. Tonight in the consent agenda, you read the building department activities. Tim London, Stacy Falconer, and Cheryl Lotan have been working alongside and with our developers, our inspectors, electrical, HVAC, plumbing, building, plan review, the enormous amount of development that's going on, over 1,300 building permits, not complete building permits of houses. I think there were 60 of those, but the amount of activity that's going on next month or quarterly, building official London will be in to present those facts should we have any questions. But it was an all-inclusive of all the work that's being done in the building department. Secondly, we have a industry that is currently in our township. They own another piece of land. They're diversifying their business. They will be seeking a tax abatement on the new building and new piece of land. In order to do that, we have a lot of work to do if we should want to entertain a tax abatement for them. So a lot more work to do, but those are the two things I had to talk about tonight. All right, on to item 8, public hearing, fiscal year 2024 Community Development Block Grant Funds.
I move to open the public hearing at 6:40 p.m. to discuss fiscal year 2024 Community Development Block Grant Funds.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Nold. Are there any questions? Roll call.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. At this time, members of the public that wish to speak on community development block grant funds for 2024, if there are any members of the community that want to speak, now would be the time. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Mary Spearman. My address is at 661 Roxbury Court in Oxford. and I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to address the board about the community development funds. There is an activity that's taking place in Oxford 5 days a week at the Seymour Lake Park that could really use some of these funds. We are a very fledgling group at this point, and it's the pickleball group. It is something that is being used by all of the seniors as well as some of the other adults. And the numbers have been growing. While our numbers have been growing, the courts there are designated as tennis courts. And the interest, there's 4 courts. The interest in tennis is waning. And the interest in pickleball has been exploding. The existing nets are too tall for pickleball. The lines that are on the existing courts are the same color as the tennis court lines, which makes it very difficult to play. And the only public pickleball courts in Oxford are at Seymour Lake Park. There are tennis courts available at the high school for those who need dedicated tennis courts. The majority of the players are seniors and Oxford residents. We started with 85 people 3 years ago. We're now at 265, which is an increase of about 312%. Not all of those people come every day. We have approximately 75 regulars that do come, and this is between the months of April and October, although there are some of us who are real diehards that will go out there when it's even colder than, 50 degrees. But approximately 4.8 million Americans are playing pickleball at this point, and that is according to a 2022 report from the Sports and Fitness Industry Association. And I'm sure with dedicated courts, those numbers would rise. The physical and social aspect and impact can't be ignored. It's well documented that as we age, we need to keep our minds and our bodies active. Playing pickleball does that. It improves your mood, it gets the heart pumping, so it improves your blood flow and your blood pressure levels. Physical activity can release endorphins to help you feel good. Participating in a group sport can also improve your social interaction, and which is another concern for seniors. Pickleball provides aerobic exercise and helps burn calories and incorporates movement by your entire body. Players also see an improvement in their balance and agility. And I believe the greatest part of pickleball is the inclusive, encouraging camaraderie that has formed in our group. While any large group has hiccups, overall we formed a really good social activity. We prefer to stay closer to home than to drive to other communities that have been adding pickleball courts. Those courts outside of Oxford are already crowded with players from within their community. We've watched as communities surrounding Oxford convert tennis courts to dedicated pickleball courts. In some cases, they're even building dedicated courts from the ground up. Addison Oaks is adding 2 courts. Ortonville has added 2 courts. Orion Township added 2 courts, and they have 2 more courts coming. Auburn Hills has 3 courts. Rochester has 8 courts. And Clintonwood and Independence Township has 8 dedicated courts. On any morning in the warmer months, you'll find 40 to 70 people playing at either Borden or Clintonwood. We're just asking for help with turning 2 tennis courts into 6 dedicated pickleball courts. That would still leave 2 tennis/pickleball courts at Seymour Lake Park. Our group has been working with the Oxford Parks and Rec with fundraising. Those courts would be utilized by Oxford residents that have been involved in the community for years, and we would prefer to stay in our town. With this in mind, the pickleball community would respectfully request that some of the community development block funds be granted to upgrade and increase the dedicated pickleball courts in Oxford. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Anyone else from the public wishing to comment
You're gonna say something?
on the CDBG funds?
Good evening, Valerie Serrato, live at 350 Lakes Edge Drive, and lived here pretty much most of my adult life. I would just like to reiterate what Mary had said. I too am a pickleball player, and the sport is growing. We have lots of people coming out on a daily basis, and we're not asking for completely new courts set aside from the tennis courts. We're just asking that we can incorporate pickleball into the tennis courts. If we had to build completely separate independent courts like Clarkston has or like Rochester has, the cost would be way higher. What we're just asking is utilize the courts that we have and resurface them, paint them, the colors for pickleball and lines and that sort of thing. So it's much less expensive still. It's quite costly, and even though we've tried with a couple different fundraisers, donations and that sort of thing, and we've raised a significant amount of money, but we fell miserably short of what was needed. I know we've applied for 2 or 3 different grants, and for one reason or another we're turned down on that. So we're kind of at a point now where we don't know where to go for funds, and so we're hoping that you would be able to allocate some funds for us. Parks and Rec, I know most of the funds that they have now, are pretty much already committed to other programs that they have, whether it be softball, baseball, soccer, whatever. And since pickleball is kind of a new sport, we just need kind of a start, and we've got a lot of volunteers that do the work. So we're not taking a lot of time from Parks and Rec or anything. The volunteers pretty much take care of organizing everything and keeping the records and that sort of thing. But if you could really help us out with, resurfacing the courts and getting some actual pickleball nets, because the difference between a pickleball net and a tennis net, like on the ends, is about 8 inches, and that's significant. Anyway, we would appreciate any help that you can give us. Thank you.
Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak on the community development block grant funds?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, discuss fiscal year 2024, the block grant development funds, at 6:48 p.m.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Roll call.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Are we doing discussion?
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. That'll be down on item 14E.
Okay.
Okay, second public hearing, number 9. Public hearing for the North Sanitary Sewer District, SAD.
I move to open the public hearing at 6:49 p.m. to discuss the establishment, North Area Sanitary Sewer Special Assessment District.
Second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Ferrari.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. I'm gonna ask our attorney, Brittany Ellis, to just give a brief overview of what we're doing tonight for the public so they can understand.
Good evening. So tonight we are having our second public hearing to consider any objections there may be to the special assessment roll for the North Area Sanitary Sewer District. So tonight you'll hear from any of those in the Sanitary Sewer District who may want to speak in support of the project or an objection to the project. There will also be a resolution tonight to approve or consider for approval after the close of the public hearing, wherein the board will approve the special assessment roll, give Treasurer Ferrari the approval he needs to place this on the December 2023 tax roll, and for us to send out our final notice of special assessment. This is a 15-year SAD, which will be assessed on an annual basis. Once this process is done, you're done with me as far as resolutions and public hearings. You will have ongoing discussions with your bond counsel, who will be presenting the bond at your December meeting. The interest rate will be set at 1% above the bond interest rate, whatever that may be, which your bond counsel again will speak to that in December. So I think that's all that I have to present to you tonight on that issue, but I'm available for any questions.
Okay. I do have one letter. Should I read that now?
Yes, I believe the township received a letter in objection to the SAD district, which can be read in the record at this time.
Okay, the letter is from Oxford Promenade LLC, 34120 Woodward Avenue, Birmingham, Michigan, 48008, November 6, 2023. It's addressed to Clerk Wright, Charter Township of Oxford, and also received an email letter and a FedEx letter. And this is the North Sewer Special Assessment District for parcel 04-22-200-010. Clerk Curtis Wright, regarding the hearing on November 8th, 2023, please accept this letter as a protest against the North Sewer Special Assessment District on behalf of the properties owned by Oxford Promenade LLC, 10.56 acres at 700 North Lapeer Road, parcel 04-22-200-010. The property has paid for enough REUs necessary to date, and if needed, we may pay for them at a later date. Sincerely, Thomas Costello, sole member, Oxford Promenade LLC. With that, are there any public wishing to comment on the North Area Sanitary Sewer District Special Assessment?
I have a question.
Step up.
Hi, I'm Steve Davis. I live over in the Brackley sub. I was wondering, is this North Area Sanitary Sewer, is that the one that you're bringing up by Meyer and gonna proceed on with? Or is that sometime in the future?
The sewer that we're building, we're appointing this SAD to put and install, will run from Harriet Street at the village limit, and it'll run north to Dunlap Road along the east side of M24.
Okay. Now, when you do this, is it going to stop there, or are you gonna keep on going?
Right now, we're gonna stop there with this SAD.
Okay. Do you have any estimates, and I know they probably wouldn't be good in the future, as to how much it would cost each homeowner were it to come by your area?
I do not have an estimate on that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other public comments on the sanitary sewer SAD? Seeing none,
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing at 6:54 PM. Discuss the establishment of the North Area Sanitary Sewers Special Assessment District.
second. I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
trustee Payne,
Yes.
trustee Noel,
Yes.
treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
clerk Wright, yes, trustee Charles,
Yes.
supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item number 10, first reading, ordinance 95.005, fire prevention and protection. Board members, this is the first reading of that ordinance proposed change. If you have any questions or concerns, we have Chief here tonight. He can address those to us. I look for any questions. Yes, sir.
Well, comment, question, whatever you want to call it. The last meeting we discussed burning leaves and things like that, if you recall. Could we somehow communicate to the community at large what those rules are? there's a lot of people are unfamiliar with what can be burned, how you start a fire, what are accelerants you can use, et cetera. I don't know, be it social media, be it from the fire department, the township, whatever else, that kind of stuff.
Well, currently, the ordinance is in full on the township's website. We're also having it added to our updated website as well, so that it has, but we're also gonna have it done in a manner with, I guess, let's call it a Reader's Digest version of the highlights, or Cliff Notes version of the things that are important to people, so that people can directly kind of look for exactly what they're looking for and not have to search through all of the, no offense to our attorney, the legalese stuff, you know, so that it is easier for the public to understand. And we'll always be available for questions that, you know,
Just pass your phone number along and we're good, huh?
whatever, you're paying for the phone, I'm good.
I mean, seriously, you know,
Yeah.
people wanna know, can I burn leaves, can I not burn leaves? Those common sense questions that we all have, right?
Yeah, what can be burned has not changed, is not changing.
But regardless, people just don't know what
Right,
is
oh yeah,
changed or
and we
not.
take those calls all the time. We take them throughout the week. We get calls actually transferred over to us from here and all of that, so, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Are there any other questions for the chief on 95.005?
I move to approve the first reading of the text amendments of the following section of the Township of Oxford Municipal Code Ordinances, Chapter 26, Section 26-17, and Chapter 30, Article 4, Division 3, Section 30-152, and direct the Township Clerk to publish said ordinance in accordance with the state law by set the second reading of said ordinance for December 13th, to the December 13th, 2023 Township Board meeting.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, have a second by Trustee Noel. Any last questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes.
I move to approve the fire department's proposed fee schedule for plan reviews under the Township of Oxford Ordinance, Chapter 26, Section 26-15.
Second?
A motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Charles.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. All right, item 10B, ordinance 67A.032, noise regulations. Trustee Noel?
Last month, board members, we approved for the first reading an ordinance that would help the folks that have whole house generators at their house meet requirements. So I'd like to move to schedule a second reading and possible adoption of the text amendment to zoning ordinance 67A, section 10.1J at the December 13th, 2023 Charter Township of Oxford Board of Trustees regular meeting.
I will second that.
I have a motion by Trustee Noel, a second by Treasurer Ferrari. Yes, tried to trick me. Any questions? Roll call? Oh, yes, sir.
Trustee Noel, could you, I see on the notes here on the agenda, but could you just review how that would be measured? Someone has a device going off, and what happens if it's at a certain level and how it gets triggered for a complaint?
Currently, most of the generators right out of the box do not meet our ordinance. Our ordinance is taken at the property line with the decibel meter. And the lowest is between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m., which is 50 dB. So if there was a complaint, it would go through the appropriate channels at the township or ordinance office to investigate. Knowing that, when I looked at the generator systems, the best we could do was 66 dB at 23 feet is where they're regulated with the manufacturer. So in mitigating problems within the community with the amount of household generators that are out in the field today, it was suggested that we update our ordinance. That's strictly what we're doing.
Okay. So again, as I said earlier about the burning thing here, I think we need to communicate that to the community at large.
Thank you. Okay, I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Noel,
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Trustee Charles,
Yes.
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
Trustee Payne,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes, and Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item 11A, safety path and sidewalk ordinances.
Board members, this is the final portion of amending our sidewalk safety path ordinance. Any of the questions board members that had addressed after the first reading. I move to adopt ordinance 117.001, safety path and sidewalk regulation ordinance. Ordinance to amend Article 3 of Chapter 42 of the Oxford Charter Township Code of Ordinances as presented.
Second?
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Are there any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Charles,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes, Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Trustee Noel,
Yes.
Trustee Payne,
Yes.
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes.
Thanks, Brittany, good job.
Item 12A, Fire Department. Dan, nothing to report tonight? Okay. Item 13, Sharp Engineering Report. Board members, it was in your package. Engineer Sharp is here tonight. Should we have any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on. Item number 14, unfinished business. Item 14A, the North Sanitary Sewer District Resolution number 3.
I move to approve the special assessment resolution number 3, confirming the special assessment role for the special assessment district known as the North Area Sanitary Sewer District as presented, and direct the township treasurer to issue a notice of assessment to the affected property owners in accordance with Act 188 of 1954.
Second?
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Are there any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Clerk Wright, yes, Trustee Noel,
Yes.
Trustee Charles,
Yes.
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
Trustee Payne,
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari,
Yes.
Clerk Wright, Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item 14B, Single Waste Hauler Committee. Item I, updated consulting agreement with Resource Recycling System. Which one of the committee members, Trustee Noel?
I'll take that on if you'd like, sir.
Okay,
We have two topics to discuss tonight. The first phase of the restart. We're resuming our activities with resource recycling systems. And we have a new quote from him to continue on with his activity here at the township. So I move to approve an updated single hauler procurement proposal from Resource Recycling Systems Incorporated to include Task 3 Procurement Process Facilitization, Task 4 Single Hauler Implementation Support, and added support at an amount not to exceed $9,000, and to authorize Supervisor Jack Curtis to sign the proposal on behalf of the Oxford Township.
I'll second that.
okay, I have a motion by Trustee Noel, a second by Trustee Charles. Are there any questions? Trustee Colvin.
We previously discussed, at our last, when we had our meeting a while back, there were several questions that the audience had. And is that going to be addressed in this new consulting agreement? The questions the audience had to address whether or not certain actions could be taken?
If things are approved tonight and the board asks us to move forward, we are looking at those, yes.
Is there public comment on this?
Sure, I'll take public comment on it.
You got a motion and a second on the floor.
Pardon me?
You got a motion and a second on the floor?
We have a motion on the floor, so we can't.
Can we do it after?
I thought they did the comment before.
No, that's not fair.
Can someone move to take the motion off the floor for a minute so you can hear from those of us that are here?
I want to hear some of the comment, especially on this first one with resource recycling. So,
You can vote it down.
if we can vote the motion down to hear the public comment, or vote the motion to go and avoid the public comment. I'll call the roll.
Trustee Colvin,
No.
Trustee Payne,
No.
Trustee Noel,
No.
Treasurer Ferrari.
No.
Clerk Wright, no. Trustee Charles.
Nope.
And Supervisor Curtis.
No. Okay, now I can take public comment.
Thanks. I'm Paul Tedonio, President of Community Disposal. I want to speak on both of the topics, but I'll stick to this one first. This particular consultant you've hired, I wasn't here for your last bid process, but my experience with this company is they are the opposite of anything that's transparent. They're very good at coaching communities in how to do things without the public knowing about it. And when the public knows, it's always too late. So I would urge you to really think long and hard. My biggest concern is I don't know that I've ever seen one of the communities that they coach do a public bid opening. When they do an opening, it's always peek in an envelope. Yep, they put in a bid. Do that for everybody that supposedly submitted a bid, because you don't know, because it's not a public bid opening. It's just somebody peeking in an envelope and telling you that they don't read them aloud. They don't allow any review, and it just makes the whole thing look crooked as hell. So I just want to put that out there up front, and I don't know that they have. He's been doing it for a very long time. I've been a garbage man next month. I've been in the business for 45 years. And you know, you could probably learn a wealth of information by talking to some garbage people that won't cost you anything. There may be other ways to achieve what you want to do. I'm sure there's a lot of alternatives, but their answer is always do a contract or do even a bigger contract. That's not always the answer. I have a lot at stake. I probably have $1 million of my own money invested in just in equipment picking up this town. I've got about 2,000 plus customers now over here. So that's about almost 10% of my book of business. And I just would like to have a chance to stay and fight for, customer by customer, because I can always win them on service. And those of you, if any of you have me as a provider, I try and keep my costs reasonable. But anyways, I just wanted to let my comments be known. Thank you.
Well, any other public comment at this time?
My name is Michelle Culver. I live in Waterstone. We are serviced by community and have been since Odd Job left town and left us high and dry, how many ever years ago now it was. I also attended the big meeting that we had over at the church. I can't remember when it was, the springtime maybe. We had 200 to 300 people there to hear about, I think, this company who was on board at the time as a hired contractor to look through the process for the township. And it was determined at that meeting that this board was going to go back and evaluate whether or not the criteria that they put in place for that meeting and their reviews was done above board. And I don't know that we ever saw report results of that, but now here we've got a proposal that's coming due to hire the same firm to look at the same issue again without, the details being shared with the community about the various vendors that are up for consideration for a project of this size for our community. And I just wonder if you can provide us any additional information, one, to confirm that this is indeed the company that was deemed to have not had done their research above board the last time we talked about this, and what's been done since then to put us in this place today where you're looking to approve a new proposal from them without any notice to the community in public format. Now, I work in media relations as a job. I know the Oxford Leader has gone through some change since the springtime. I also know CJ has done a great job on many public issues for this board and for this township. But I also know that there was one notice for this meeting that we saw in the Oxford Leader, and it just came last week. And other than that, we haven't seen anything. But today, even in your comments, you want to share more with the community, from the fire department, from the library, from other places. but this single waste hauler thing is a huge deal for us. And for companies like Community Disposal that have served us so well, they deserve a fair fighting chance. So,
Yes.
that's what I have to say on this. I might be back for more.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment?
We agree with her.
As do we.
Seeing none, I look for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion. I move to approve an updated single hauler procurement proposal from Resource Recycling Systems Incorporated to include Task 3 Procurement Process Facilitization, Task 4 Single Hauler Implementation Support, and add support at the amount not to exceed $9,000, and authorize Supervisor Jack Curtis to sign the proposal on behalf of the Oxford Township.
Okay, I'll second that.
I have a motion by trustee Noel, a second by trustee Charles. Any questions? Roll call?
I do.
Oh, you do?
Of course. I just want to make sure that, taking into account what the folks said, that, we do, I think we've done this, but maybe it's my impression, we do have transparency and communication, I hear that. So, and I think that would be a major effort going forward on this whole thing is communication, so that the public knows what's going on. That's it.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Trustee Colvin,
No.
trustee Payne,
Yes.
trustee Charles,
Yes.
treasurer Ferrari,
No.
clerk Wright, yes, trustee Noel,
Yes.
and supervisor Curtis.
No.
Okay, motion fails.
No, it passed.
Oh, pass, pass 4-3.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We're doing tax returns?
Item-
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to continue.
With item 14B, double I.
Yes, sir, request for proposal for single waste haulers. This is a request that the committee move forward with developing an RFP to be brought before legal and brought before the board for approval to be submitted. I move to authorize the single waste hauler committee to continue the process to update the request for proposal for a single waste hauler to serve Oxford Township, and to present the request for proposal to the Oxford Township Board of Trustees at a future meeting for consideration of approval.
Second.
You have a motion by trustee Noel, a second by trustee Payne. Board members, this is a request to go out for proposal to see what a single waste hauler in Oxford Township servicing all township residents would cost. There is no ordinance in place requiring a single hauler at this time. This is putting the horse in front of the cart to find out if it's at least feasible, economical, and bid on fairly by all waste hauling subsidies.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yes, sir.
if I might add a comment, this is to develop the request for proposal. After we develop it at the committee level, it'll go through our legal source, it'll go through your office, and then it'll be brought back for the board to approve to go out for bid. So this is just to make the proposal, RFP, ready to go out.
So you're gonna show us what the proposal looks like before we go out for a proposal?
Absolutely.
As we did last time.
Okay, thank you. All right, any questions?
Just a comment from me again, I think that what Mr. Knowles said would be appropriate, taking into account the issues about the public knowing what's going on, and that buzzword of transparency is very important.
Okay. Roll call?
Trustee Colvin,
Yes.
trustee Payne,
Yes.
trustee Noel,
Yes.
treasurer Ferrari,
No.
clerk Wright, yes, trustee Charles,
Yes.
and supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Okay. Item 14C, Great Pines Manor Paving Special Assessment District, Resolution number 1. Clerk Wright.
Yes, so last month we authorized engineer Sharp to create the cost estimate and the boundaries for the special assessment district for Great Pines Manor subdivision. That resulted in 65.77% of the properties that signed the petition above the 51% required. This SAD is going to be based upon road frontage, and it's going to be an equal share SAD as proposed. They did get an estimate provided to us. I'll reduce the map here in a moment, as long as my computer stays functioning.
It just went kaput.
Okay, well, anyway, the boundaries have been created, the estimate has been put in, the estimate is $281,637 for that, and at this point, we're going to have a motion to schedule a public hearing for the December meeting.
I move to approve the resolution of tentative declaration of intention to implement a paving special assessment district program for Great Pines Manor subdivision. And Supervisor Jack Curtis is authorized to sign the Great Pines Manors subdivision special assessment district street paving contract on behalf of the Charter Township of Oxford. To schedule a public hearing for the Oxford Township Board of Trustees regular meeting on Wednesday, December 13th, 2023 at 6:30 p.m. or soon thereafter. To hear and consider any objections submitted by any interested persons with respect to the Great Pines Manor subdivision special assessment district petition, the special assessment district program, and the assessing of the cost thereof to the special assessment district.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Is there any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Clerk Wright, yes. Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Board members, a late arrival to your package. We are waiting from the county for our road resolution for 2023 delinquent Oakland County road resolution.
I move to approve the 2023 delinquent Oakland County roads resolution as presented, the amount of $11,391.81, and authorize to be placed in the 2023 winter tax roll.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Payne. Any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Okay, get rid of that. Yes, sir.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, Eddie, come on up. You're next on the agenda.
Well, I didn't come for that, I came for the Great Pines Manors thing. I needed clarification on one thing. I talked with a contractor, and assuming that everything goes forward and it's approved, who signs the contract? The township board, or do we sign the contract? With the contract?
I'll ask our attorney, but I believe it'd be you guys. Because you're the one laying your property in way.
I'm just trying to clarify that.
It would be
That's-
somebody from your homeowners association board.
Generally, it is your homeowners association president who actually enters into the contract.
that would
We can
be
take
me.
the money and we'll pay the contractor.
Okay, all right, that's what I needed to know.
Is that because it's a private road?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Yes. Item 15A. Can you just step down?
You're on 14.
14E.
Oh, 14E, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. Excuse me.
Eager beaver.
It's all right. Item 14E, CDBG 2024-2025 funding discussion. Treasurer Ferrari.
Board members, as you know, I had some suggestions. I went through the block grant. We have some monies available for mobile home, minor home repair, which we need some help for some folks that are still in mobile home communities. And for public services, we're looking at $4,400 for fish. Requests we have for pickleball courts, right now, we probably couldn't do anything with that because we floated a bond a couple years ago to resurface those parks. And part of the tennis courts was to resurface tennis courts. We still have like 6 more years left on that. If we were to convert them to pickleball courts, I don't think we could do that for another 6 years. So we're still paying on that bond. The residents voted on that bond to redo the tennis courts. Now, if we want new pickleball courts, that's different.
So they sit there not being used, because
But-
nobody plays tennis there anymore.
But that's what our residents voted on, what, 5, 6 years ago?
Yeah.
They have them redo
Back when
surfaces.
tennis was being played, but it's
Oh,
not
I
anymore.
don't disagree. But now if we want to do pickleballs for this different area in the parks, that's something that we could definitely take a look at. But right now, at least until the bond's done, I think our hands are kind of tied on that, because when it went in front of our residents, it said, this is what we're gonna do with the money. We can't change midstream until the bond's paid off. as though they're gonna take a fire station apparatus and say, oh, we're using it for the library. Not until it's paid off, you can't, because that's what people voted for, was for fire. Okay, board members,
Wait,
We have a question.
let's go down the road here, I got some down here.
Kind of off the subject, but just as a curiosity, how much does a pickleball court cost to build from the ground up?
From the ground up?
Yes,
Oh, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars.
tens of thousands of
Yes.
dollars.
Yeah, you have to do the, you know, the, foundation and then the surfacing, like putting in a road almost, you
Yes.
know? Um,
Whereas just cleaning and restriping and putting in a few nets would be what? Well, we haven't gotten an
Yeah.
exact number, but maybe,
Parks and Rec is going out now for quotes on what it
Yeah.
would cost.
Brittany, am I correct with that?
I'm sorry?
When that bond was first put out, it's used for that purpose?
Not having the bond language in front of me, I don't wanna advise you incorrectly, but you are limited by the language of the bond as to how you can spend those monies.
Until the bond's paid off, correct?
Correct.
Has all that money been spent at this point?
Oh, yeah, that's how the court's got done.
Okay, okay. So they'd still be able to use them, for tennis courts, you know, all four of them. But we'd also be able to use them, you know, for pickleball, because we need to convert. Right now, we're using tennis courts and converting it to pickleball. What they would be doing is using, you know, more dedicated for pickleball by the coloration in the lines. And the tennis nets would still be up, so when we're not playing pickleball, they'd still be able to use it for the
with
tennis.
temporary nets, temporary pickleball nets.
You know.
Trustee Noel,
I would like to suggest we investigate this further and find out what our options are with legal, as well as Parks and Recs, as well as with the township, to see what is available for us to do before we spend a lot of time back in this, what's the ball called?
See, that's your,
Ball back and
goes in front of Parks and Recreation.
It's called ping pong.
alright, Trustee Charles.
Yeah, I agree with the comments you made about pickleball. I hear it quite frequently. I'm on the DDA board, been on for a couple of years, and we've had presentations about the popularity of pickleball. In fact, if you like, at some point in time, we can pursue it within the DDA district as well. If it's something we can handle, but just a question, I mean, is there ARPA money that could be allocated? That's a question we have too, or other funds with the possibility of doing something from the ground up.
Are there any unallocated ARPA funds, Clerk Wright?
There is approximately like $24,000 plus or minus, with the caveat of the agreement coming back from the library. If they sign that agreement, then that would be the amount. If they don't sign the agreement, that would give us $50,000 back into the ARPA funds to be allocated.
What we're doing tonight is totally wrong. We're engineering something that we think we'd like. We asked this board members 60 days ago to get involved with Treasurer Ferrari regarding CDBG funds, and here we are trying to disseminate them. If we want to table this or postpone this until December 13th and allow the board to have inputs brought forward to determine if this money can be used, how much money can be used, or a recommendation to use ARPA fund can be made, we don't have to act on CDBG funds tonight, do we?
My deadline is Friday, December 1st, at 5 PM.
Yes.
To your point, I think my thoughts would be is we go ahead and continue with this, but we start something up different altogether from the CBG funds to help out with the pickleball issue. I think that'd be a cleaner way to deal with it.
I think the best way is to talk to Director Castoni and get to the Parks and Rec Commission.
Well, whoever, but the point is we deal with this tonight, as the supervisor just said, and that's a separate issue that can handle from with different funds potentially.
Supervisor Curtis?
CJ.
I'm already pursuing grants for this. We tried 2 last year. We didn't get it through Oakland County and through American Association of Retired Persons. I'm looking at some other options now because Phil originally was looking at restriping all of the courts to turn it from 4 pickleball courts to 8 and having portable nets and building a shed out there for the portable nets and adding some equipment in that. So I'm working with Phil again on that, and I'm pursuing grant fund. Currently, I'm working on that right
So
now.
like I said, there's a lot of activity going on around this, and to try to engineer I'm gonna call the roll on the CDGB funds,
Let me make a
and
motion.
then we will take forward the rest of the pickleball concerns.
We gotta have
I'll
some-
make a motion that the Charter Township of Oxford Board of
Yeah.
Trustees formally agrees to allocate its 2024 Community Development CDBG funds following manner. 24,947 for the mobile home mine home repair program for mobile homes within Lake Villa and Parkhurst that is administered through Oakland County CDBG. 4,400 to provide Oxford Township residents with emergency food assistance. In the case that CDBG funding comes in less than anticipated, the allocation for the mobile home mine home repair program is reduced appropriately. The Charter Township of Oxford Board of Trustees also authorizes CDBG Coordinator Joseph G. Ferrari to prepare all the necessary documents, authorizes Supervisor Jack L. Curtis to sign the 2024 CDBG submittal, 2024 subrecipient agreement, when made available, and the conflict of interest certification on behalf of the township.
Second?
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Are there any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Now can I go on to Eddie? 15EA, new business, Ed Hunwick, resignation from the Planning Commission. Board members, attached is an email I received from Ed Hunwick informing me that he will be resigning from the Oxford Township Planning Commission effective December 31st, 2023.
I move to accept the resignation of Ed Hunwood from the Oxford Township Planning Commission with regrets, effective December 31st, 2023.
With regrets, I second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by regretful second by Trustee Noel. Roll call.
Clerk Wright? Yes. Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Thank you, Ed. Get your road paved. President. Item 15B, appointment to the Planning Commission to fill the vacant position. Board members, as you're aware, as of January 1st, 2024, there will be a vacancy on the Charter Township of Oxford Planning Commission with the resignation of Ed Hunwick. In the information provided, I'm recommending to this board the appointment of Donald J. Volosik to the position of Planning Commissioner to the Planning Commission of the Charter Township of Oxford, effective January 1st, 2024.
Second?
We haven't moved it.
I haven't heard a movement yet.
Well, I move to appoint Donald J. Volosik to the position of Planning Commissioner effective January 1, 2024. Donald will fill the vacant position for the remainder of Ed Hunwick's appointment, expiration date of 12/31/25.
Based on the recommendation of Supervisor Curtis.
Based on the recommendation of Supervisor Curtis.
Yes.
I will second that.
I have a motion by Trustee Charles and a second by Treasurer Ferrari. I'd like Don to stand up so he could be recognized tonight. Don's been at several planning commissions, concerned with development in his community, that was not in favor by his neighbors. He's been involved in many of these township board meetings. So, ladies and gentlemen, Don Volosik.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Clerk Wright? Yes. Supervisor Curtis?
Yes.
And Trustee Charles?
Yes. There's also a requirement that everyone pronounces his name properly.
I want to do a spelling test. I called Don, I said, okay, Don, I'm not gonna screw this up the first night. How do you say it?
You did good, thank you.
Thank you.
I trained him, I want you to know.
Board members, item number 15C, 395 Franklin Lake Water Bill Adjustment. The Oakland County Water Resources Commission presented the attached information in your package to the Water and Sewer Committee requesting a water bill reduction in the amount of $162 for water service for 395 Franklin Circle. The Water and Sewer Committee discussed the request and recommends denial of any reduction, adjustment to the water bill.
I'll move to deny the request for a $162.69 reduction to the August 2023 water bill for 395 Franklin Lake Circle.
Second.
I have a motion by Clerk Wright, a second by Trustee Noel. Are there any questions? Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Item 15D, 2024 holiday schedule. Board members, attached in the package is the proposed schedule for the Oxford Township offices to be closed in observance of the following holidays. You want me to read them all?
I move to approve the Township of Oxford 2024 holiday schedule as presented.
Second.
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Colvin. Any questions? Roll call.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari.
Yes.
Trustee Charles.
Yes.
Trustee Noel.
Yes.
Trustee Payne.
Yes.
Trustee Colvin.
Yes.
Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. I'm gonna take a drink for this one. Board members, at the May 10th, 2023 Board of Trustees meeting, the board authorized the solicitation for bids for IT services. This included key card entry into the building and its doors, audio-visual updates for the boardroom and conference room, as well as looking into security cameras. Over the next several months, Treasurer Ferrari, Clerk Wright, Supervisor Curtis, and Executive Assistant Smith met with several IT companies. And one company stood out from the rest, and that was Allcom. Allcom was highly recommended by Orion Township, as it is the company that designed and installed all technology, including the badge entry and audio-visual equipment in their new facility. Additionally, Allcom has worked with Oxford Community Schools for badging, the city of Madison Heights, and the Madison Heights Police Departments, all of which are satisfied for their various security and technology projects. Allcom is the only company that the team spoke with that can provide all IT support, audio-visual equipment support, and badge accessing. Allcom does not outsource the installation or management of the badge access. The group concurred that having one point of contact without a middleman would ensure the project will be performed efficiently, effectively, and one source managed. Based on the recommendation from the other communities and our school district, this team believes their expertise in the security and technology field would be beneficial to Oxford Township. The members of this team are asking the board to waive the procurement policy process and award the attached quote for security badging entrance only to Allcom in the amount of $58,275. But before I make any motion, I want to bring forward our grants and communication manager, CJ Canacchio, for some pretty darn good news.
Thank you. Thank you, Jack. Good evening, board members. I'm pleased to announce that yesterday, Oxford Township was awarded a $29,137.95 grant from the Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority, our insurance provider. The grant, which I researched and wrote, will cover 50% of the cost based on the quote received from Allcom to install an access control or key card badge access system for the township halls, 18 exterior and interior doors and elevator. The system will replace the current mechanical lock and metal key system. Just to give you guys some benefits of this system, unlike metal keys, an electronic system utilizes access credentials or encrypted cards that are unique to the individual holders. This will allow the township to better manage who enters the building and monitor the flow while people are here based on their credential use. An electronic system automatically logs who entered the building, when and which doors were accessed. It can also track unauthorized or failed access attempts. If a security breach or a crime occurs, those audit trails can be crucial evidence for investigations and prosecutions. In situations where the encrypted cards are lost, stolen, or the holder leaves the township due to resignation, termination, or losing an election, access rights to the building can be immediately revoked. Cards can be deactivated remotely and instantly if necessary, and once access credentials are deactivated, they're no longer security risk. And unlike traditional metal keys, which can be easily copied, the encrypted cards are very difficult to duplicate, therefore much more secure. And each day, the electronic system would ensure the Township Hall's main entrance doors are automatically locked when they're supposed to be, i.e. when the building is closed or there's no meeting scheduled. So employees would no longer be responsible for this function. This eliminates the possibility of human error, leaving the building vulnerable to threats and security breaches. And finally, should a threat arise at the Township Hall, an electronic access system would have the capability to initiate an emergency lockdown. All 18 doors along with the elevator could be immediately and remotely locked simultaneously, and having the ability to quickly secure the entire building with a touch of the button would help the township protect township officials, employees, and visitors. Working closely with Allcom helped secure this grant for the township, and for that I thank them.
So what we have is a bid from Allcom for $58,000. CJ ascertained a grant for half of that to be reimbursed to us. So it's a pay, install, and then we get the money, half the money back from the grantor. So
I moved away the procurement policy bid process, accept the quote from Allcom in the amount of $58,275.90 for the purchase and installation of badge entry points of the Township Hall. I further authorize Supervisor Jack Curtis to sign the contract on behalf of the Charter Township of Oxford. This $58,275.90 to be expensed to account number 101-265-976.000, additions and improvements.
Second?
I have a motion by Treasurer Ferrari, a second by Trustee Noel. Questions or comments? I'd take them at this time. Seeing none, roll call.
Trustee Charles?
Yes.
Clerk Wright, yes. Treasurer Ferrari?
Yes.
Trustee Noel?
Yes.
Trustee Payne?
Yes.
Trustee Colvin?
Yes.
And Supervisor Curtis.
Yes. Thanks a lot, CJ. I know you worked diligently to get that money. Okay. Item 16, items removed from consent agenda. We don't have any of those. Nope. Item 17, public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to comment? Brian, I saw your hand up.
Brian Cloutier, Director, Oxford Public Library. This is just a follow-up to some of the things that you talked about tonight that pertain to the library. Trust me, the agreement, the $50,000 ARPA agreement with the library and the township will be signed, so you don't have to worry about retaining those funds. That being said, I am in receipt of the agreement from the clerk. I did share with Curtis via email that it is now in the hands of our legal counsel. They're reviewing it. As soon as I hear back from them, I'll make sure that those concerns are brought forward. I did see some errors and omissions in there myself that I think the attorney will probably see as well, and we'll get those addressed accordingly. But trust me, I believe this is gonna be signed. We've already expended the $50,000 deposit for the generator. The total cost, as some of you know, is right around $330,000. I did hear you mention residential generators and how the noise coming out of the box is a certain decibel, and I can assure you that a 200 kilowatt whole building backup generator for the public library is probably going to exceed that decibel limit out of the box. That being said, you have one right behind you here too.
Monday
so-
morning, 9 o'clock, stop by.
Yeah. So these are critical infrastructure needs, and we are gonna need to address those, if not address accordingly. And then, I also just wanna share with you that we are currently posting position for Director of Engagement Services. This will be somebody similar to CJ, although in a library world, we do function a lot different than the township does. So that being said, all the requirements for that position, the entire post, is found on our website at miopl.org. There's a link for employment. You can read through the job posting and see how to apply. So we're looking forward to filling that vacancy around the first of the year. So thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Terry Stiles, Oxford Community Television. I just want to give you an update. I know you have a resolution in there for House Bill 4965. I got sort of good news today, and I think it's because so many communities have written or contacted their senators. It appears, rumor has it, that it's sitting in committee right now and not to be looked at until 2024. But that doesn't mean don't sign that or hold off. The more pressure that we put on the Senate, the more they'll pay attention to that bill and how it will hurt every single community, whether they're giving franchise fees to facilities like ours or whether the community's keeping them. It would cost the community more than the $2 that it may add on their cable bill. So I just wanted to update you on that.
Thank you. Any other public have any comment? Yes, Don.
Hi there, good evening. Thanks for the yes vote on the planning commission. I greatly appreciate that. The second item I wanted to talk about, just listening to the comments about the single waste hauler. You know, I heard the gentleman that has the businesses in the community that's been here for a while, you know, maybe afford him the opportunity or other providers, some input on the bidding process. So there may be aspects of the bid that, or parts of the bid, quality or customer service, things that they might be able to help with lock in on how do you quantify what that means, whether it's maybe time of day or whatever. But anyway, I think it's worth a company like that's been around for a long time and serving the community well, getting their input on the bid process, at least giving them the opportunity. You know, I live at 569 South Shore. We have a single waste hauler for 49 homes in our HOA, and it's been working fine. I would, if we had somebody else come along and change, that would be a little bit disruptive, but anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And I think, as I heard other comments, maybe about outlining the process that you're going through. You mentioned that you're gonna go out and obtain bids, and
I see the sheriff's out there. I just thought maybe something.
he's not here for me, is he?
No.
Okay, good. Not yet.
No.
Not yet. But anyway, the process, from a public standpoint, my standpoint, learning about this bidding process and something like this being introduced to the public, it might be an opportunity to outline what this process looks like. You're receiving bids next, I guess, to understand, is it feasible? Does it make sense from a business standpoint to even go further or not? And understanding from the public, you know, what are these steps? What's the timing look like, so that there's really no surprises, so that we don't, a public person doesn't sit here in the meeting and all of a sudden something get approved and we're looking around going, well, wait a minute, what just happened? We had good comments, we had good argument, but for some reason something's still moving forward and our comments didn't feel like they were being heard, that's all. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other public want to comment at this time? CJ, could you see what they need out there?
I'll come back for more single waste hauler discussion, but second, and thank you for your comments and for taking on this new role. I know that this discussion is gonna start before he starts his new job, so hopefully he can be included in some of the discussions and meetings, but I also would ask that there be an opportunity for community involvement and not just discussion among this group of folks. Because as we saw at that last meeting, there are a lot of people in this community that are passionate about this issue. In other communities, it's gone to ballot. And I don't see why we shouldn't consider something like that here to see if it's even something that the customers, your customers and clients even want. You know, we've lived in this community for 25 years. We've had half a dozen waste haulers over time. Every single one of them gives us a reason to go to someone else. We heard a lot of complaints at the last meeting. We also heard a lot of support for community. And giving us as residents the opportunity to choose is great. And if there's no reason from a business perspective that the township needs to be involved in residential services. You don't tell me what plumber to hire, you don't tell me what grass company to use, you don't tell me what babysitter to bring. There's no reason we should have not have a voice in a big decision like this in our community. So I just ask for the board's consideration that there be some additional community involvement in the process as this moves forward with the company that you've now hired to look into the feasibility of doing an RFP and putting it out into play. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments at this time? Seeing none. Item 18, Board of Trustee comments. We'll start with Trustee Charles.
Question about the steering committee, any update on what's going on with the steering committee for the 5-year plan for the township?
No update at this time.
That's it.
Clerk Wright,
No comment.
Treasurer Ferrari.
The single waste hauler thing, it's been going on for a while. I remember it started back in '89, when the first happened came in front of the township. Back then, there were a lot of little guys. There were your, who's back then, Bushman, Washington, Waste Management, GFL's predecessor, I forget who that was. They're all about that, I understood that completely. But I think what you're looking at now, it's a totally different animal. I think the whole idea with single waste hauler is, there's some folks in the rural areas, like, that are in outskirts, they're the ones that pay a higher fee. I understand what community's doing to him. He only goes for the low hanging fruit. I get it. I'm Waterstone. Why would he wanna do Baldwin and Granger and all those guys out there when they're onesies? He can come to Waterstone, bust us out and get a ton of money. I get that. But the reason why people that are looking at the single hauler are the areas that are more rural, they pay more money because they don't get the benefit that I get from being in Waterstone. I understand that. The opposite side is the idea of right to choose. When I was in Clear Lake, you chose your own waste hauler. Now I'm in Waterstone, it's chosen for me by my HOA. So I understand both sides of it. So I mean, I can understand, and there's passion either way. There's many people here that are against it. We've gotten letters from people that are for it. So our community is probably 50-50 split on it. Also another matter, since we moved a lot of our monies to Michigan class, and thanks to the work of the administrative officers in the township township's earned through all the different various funds, interest from October of 2022 to November of 2023, $1,583,000 in interest, just from all the various funds. So I'd like to thank all the staff in the offices for their due diligence and working hard and getting everything done so we can make timely deposits. That's all I have.
Trustee Noel.
Interest is a wonderful thing. Thank you, Joe. I'd like to clear up or reiterate what we did tonight as a board in regards to waste hauler. Tonight we simply approved the use of resource recycling systems to help the board, help the committee write their RFP and to advise us and guide us through the process if the board decided to move on. The board also approved tonight for the committee to update the request for proposal for a single waste hauler. The flow of that will be, it will go from the committee to the legal, to be approved at legal. It'll go to our supervisor to be reviewed by his office and himself. And then if it meets the requirements, it will come before the board at a future time to go out for quotes. We are not going out for quotes. We are only writing the RFP in preparation if the board decides to move ahead with going out for quotes. Thank you.
Trustee Payne.
Nothing.
Trustee Colvin.
The soup and sweet stroll DDA is December 1st. We sell out every year, so get your chickens early.
Super. And last but not least, last week I signed the agreement to do the sheriff's expansion downstairs, and I presented to Clerk Wright his additional storage and square foot and easier access to load and unload the voting machines. Secondly, you can hear tonight only one of the bills that affects us dramatically here in the township. What number is it?
4965,
Yeah,
HB
65.
4965.
We have bills that are going to Senate before the end of the year to allow large-scale solar energy farms above and beyond our local ordinances. It's already passed through the House. So if someone were to come and say, we want to put a solar grid on 80 acres on Saunders and Seymour Lake Road, we couldn't stop it. It's just going to start happening now. We have bills on gravel mining that are impacting our community negatively because other communities aren't ingrained in wanting gravel pits. It's driving more of the business to us, driving more of the trucks to us in our community because other communities don't have to open them up. So stay tuned to all of these locally impactful House resolution bills that are set forward. Get educated on them and bring them here, because if we don't know about them, we lose ground every day. So with that, I look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
So moved by Treasurer Ferrari, seconded by Trustee Charles. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, hearing none, you can stay here. Brian. When does our license?
Thank you. I have a quick question though.
Have to be renewed for the grant search capabilities? Oh,